One of the most common requests I receive on the website is to build a musical instrument, and specifically a guitar. Now, if I were going to start a project like that, I would really want to learn directly from a luthier, someone who has years of experience, who could save me the heartache that I'd probably go through the first round trying it myself. Now, fortunately, there are some people out there who are braver than I am who just jump right into it, and one such person is a guy named Rick. And Rick sent me a couple clips of his first project, his first guitar project, and he started with a kit and built this gorgeous guitar for his wife. Now, the clips were fantastic, and I told him that I'd really like to get a hold of the raw footage, edit it sort of, Wood Whisperer style, and put it out in a presentation, several videos, specifically for you guys. He agreed, and here we are. We have a great presentation for you. Now, most of you know already that I'm a drummer, but what you might not know is I can kind of play a mean guitar. Let me show you. Hit it, Blondie.
If this guitar could talk, what do you think it might say?
Hi, my name is Rick Urschel, and welcome to my wood shop. I've been woodworking for about 10 years and have recently started looking for projects that would be more of a challenge than the typical craftsman style side table. Well, a few weeks ago, my beautiful wife Erin tells me that she wants to learn how to play the guitar. Suddenly, a light bulb goes off in my head. I can make Erin a guitar for Christmas. If it weren't for my father-in-law, whose name is coincidentally also Rick, the thought of building a guitar from scratch would never have crossed my mind. Rick built his first guitar when Erin was just a child. And it just so happens that one of the guitars he built was also played by a good friend of mine at our wedding. Rick asked that I keep him up to date on the progress of the build, and it was my dad, Bob, who suggested that I videotape the process. This video will be the first of many in a series that will chronicle my journey down the road to becoming a luthier. If you'd like to send me feedback of any kind, you can email me at buildaguitar@gmail.com. Otherwise, sit back, relax, and enjoy yourself.
Because I didn't have a lot of time and I wanted to get the guitar built by Christmas, I decided that instead of painstakingly try and find all the lumber bits and pieces that I might need, see if I couldn't find a guitar kit. And luckily enough, I found one at a great website, www.lmii.com, where all of the items that you might ever need to build any kind of guitar, whether it be classical or steel string guitar, could be found.
Since we only surfaced two sides of our neck blank, we will now start to bring the neck and the headpiece to the proper thickness. This should also bring our neck angle cut back into square. My target on the neck thickness was 875 thousandths. Unfortunately, the neck was still not completely flat, so it's necessary to take the neck a bit thinner. However, there should still be plenty of stock remaining on the neck blank.
Okay, now we're going to take the neck and we're going to cut off this piece here. And that piece will become the heel block. So I want to divide this into 3 pieces. So we'll go with 4 1/4. There's 1. There's 2, and that should be 1, 2, 3, 4, and about a
clamps gluing it up. And while the glue is drying on that, before we put it on the neck, we're going to glue up the lamination for the headpiece, which is this part here. Now, the kit came with just these 2 pieces here. This piece of East Indian rosewood, and this is, I don't know, some kind of maple. Now, although my wife loves rosewood, I think this is one of the most boring pieces of wood I've ever seen. There's really no figure to it. There's really nothing exciting, and it's going to go on the head of the guitar. I would much prefer to see something that's a little bit more pleasing to the eye, a little bit more something fun to look at. So I just happen to have this piece of curly maple sitting around, and this has a really neat figure to it. It's got some really cool depth to it. So I'm going to sandwich this on top of that piece of Hunter, or the East Indian rosewood rather. So that way we'll get this light, dark, light lamination. I think this will contrast really well with the ebony fingerboard. So while this dries, we're going to grab the vacuum bag and throw these in the vacuum press.
got my 2 calls here, my vacuum bag's back here, and my 3 veneer pieces. Hooray! So let's get some glue. Now normally I would use some more cauls, but stuff's pretty thin to begin with, and I think the little amount of flexing in the boards that we're going to get from the press is going to be minimal, so I'm not too worried about it.
Okay, so everything is clamped and gluing up and should be pretty much dry and ready to go. In the meantime, I modeled up a little template for the headpiece. I didn't want to originally do the traditional look of a classical guitar, and so I started playing around with some ideas and nothing really looked good. The best idea that I had was to put a little heart on top of the headpiece, and it ended up looking like a butt. So yeah, I'm going to stick with the original classic guitar, and maybe on guitar number 2 we'll go a little bit crazy. So the classical piece is what we're stuck with.
Now that the final shape of the headpiece is finished, we can cut the slots and drill the holes for the tuning machines. I made a template out of MDF so I could accurately route the slots as well as locate the tuning machine holes.
Now that the neck is mostly roughed out, we're going to move on and start forming the sides. These two pieces of East Indian rosewood will become the sides of the guitar. This is the part that I've been most looking forward to because it has to do with forming them, and I'm looking forward to that. But first we've got to get them down to the right length and the right width, so that's what we're going to do. Now that we have the side pieces milled to the proper width, we're going to deviate a little bit from this actual guitar and build a jig that will be in the shape of the guitar body, and that way we can easily put the guitar together when we get to that point. And it's just something I kept putting off, and now I don't really have an option, so that's what we're going to do next.
Now that the jig body is roughed out, we can cut a notch to fit the heel block, trim down the sides, and add the 2 bolts that will hold the top and bottom of the jig together. Now that the jig is finished, I carefully line the inside wall with a piece of masking tape. This tape will be my template for locating the center of the waist in relation to the sides. After careful consideration, I decided to try my hand at building my own bending iron. Originally, I'd found some video of the propane torch and the aluminum tube method, but frankly, this method made me a bit nervous. After scouring the internet, I came upon a discussion thread in one of the guitar building forums about a light bulb-based bending iron. After doing some research, it seemed possible to build this type of bending iron for about $20. The bending iron is simple, easy to make, and easy to use. At the heart of the bending iron is the source of the heat, which is a 200-watt light bulb. I was unable to find this bulb at my local home center, but was able to find one online for about $1.55 plus shipping. The bulb is placed inside a 6-inch long, 3-inch outer diameter piece of aluminum round tubing with a 1/4-inch wall thickness. My tube originally had a 3/16 inch wall, but the bulb just barely fit, so I had to turn the ID of the tube ever so slightly. The bulb screws into a porcelain base, which you can't see in the photo. Attached to the bulb is a 1000-watt dimmer switch. I sacrificed an old extension cord to hook up the bulb base and mounted everything in a little MDF jig. I must say that I'm very pleased with the results. Now, on to the bending. I found that at about half power, the bulb heats the aluminum tube up to the proper temperature, which is around 350 degrees Fahrenheit for this type of wood. That being said, I could have probably gotten away with using a standard 100-watt bulb, but I stuck with the 200-watt just in case the tube started to cool as I worked the sides.